Tesla has a high standard to live up to with what they're doing, but I think that, my best wish out of this announcement is that we will see a product that is ready to produce and not a future concept of, hey, in 2030 we intend to make this vehicle. I hope that within a year these things are rolling off the assembly line and ready to revolutionize that space because it's a very unique offering. Obviously, it generated a lot of interest. And what we saw was that they were, it seemed like their focus as a company has been shifted towards the robotics and the AI side of things. And so I think
Yep.
that I mean, this is the brainchild of, I think, all of that coming to a head. And so hopefully that's a product that's going to be a wow factor instead of just a status quo.
Welcome back to Turn Down for What, your source for EV news and updates. Like and subscribe for more content like this episode. Let's dive on in.
Welcome back to Turn Down for What? Another day.
Another episode.
There we go. Bo, now you're bringing in the punchline to every episode. I like it. All right. Well, today we have it's a special day. And we are coming to you here on this monumental day of October the 10th. It is such a special and unique day. Why, Chris?
Today, 10/10 is my sister's birthday. Yeah, I can't believe you knew that, Josh. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that was what it was. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
your sister's birthday. Shout out to your sister. Well,
right. Happy birthday, Carolyn.
there was something else happening today. What was it?
49ers play tonight
They
at
do. They do
Seattle.
play the Seahawks. Yeah, that's true.
Huge game
Yeah.
for first place for all the glory of the 3-2 teams.
Debo Samuel's let me down in my fantasy league, and I'm not so happy about it.
We are having a rough year, man. We are having a rough year, but that should be nationwide news. Thursday night football. It's going to be huge tonight. Everybody will be tuned in to see the 49ers and Seahawks, I'm sure.
There's something else people were tuning into too. What was it?
Well, this the start of the Big Brother finale is also tonight. I don't know how many TVs I'm going to have on. My
Yeah,
wife and I, Big Brother fans. The actual finale is Sunday, but I think the final, final starts tonight.
Yeah.
We have a Big Brother that's only for the Appalachian region. We call it the cute cousin. It's a different type of
Oh
show
no.
though. So
Oh no. Yeah, so I think there'll be a lot of action on X and everybody on all the socials with 10/10. I've seen a lot of people talking about the buzz, so I'm sure it's about my sister and 49ers and Big Brother. I don't know, anything else important going on today?
Huh.
McDonald's posted something about 10/10. I don't know if that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Little receipt. I don't know.
Wait a,
Jesse, what do you have going on for 10/10?
wait a second. There was something else going on, wasn't there, Jesse? Tell us.
I don't know. Anybody that likes a robot is going to want to pay attention to the event called We Robot. That event is coming up in somewhere around you. Are you close to where the event We Robot is being held, Chris? Where is it
Other
being
part
held
of the
at?
state. Yeah, it's down at the Warner Brothers studio. That is going to be, that Robotaxi event, the We Robot.
Yep.
That's going to be exciting. That's going to be all the buzz. Just a few hours from now, they start opening the doors. And
Jesse,
yeah,
that
it's
was the
down
most
at the.
anticlimactic. That was the most anticlimactic end to that journey. Thank you for ruining that.
We were waiting for Jesse to
We were
bring.
building it up to the grand event. You're supposed to be like, and it's the Robo event. And here you are. Like, yeah, guess what? Tesla has their event. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
The big news tonight, Tesla is showcasing and announcing their Robotaxi.
That's right.
Thank
Yeah.
you. There we go. All right. There's the grand finale. Ta-da! Yeah, okay. Now
yay.
I did get this. I got this email a couple days ago, and it pops up and it says you're invited, and it's the We Robot, and I'm like, oh my god, I actually got an invite. And I'm starting to think in my head, like as I'm opening this email to RSVP, I'm thinking, man, do I fly down there? Do I go ahead and just take the Lightning and show up to a Tesla event in my Lightning, surrounded by all these Tesla people? Like thinking about how I'm going to arrange my work schedule, and then it's like it's for a watch party at the Tesla factory, and I'm like, oh, get out of here!
I'm
I'm not
sure
going
you
to.
could have found somebody to lend you a Cybertruck for that event if you were able to go to it. So That
Yeah,
would be a
that it
faux
would have
pas if you
been.
showed up in the lightning to the cyber or to the We Robot event. So
I was gonna rock the Ford hat, and like they'd have a shot, and there'd just be, "What's this guy doing?" There, I saw last night they had somebody showed up to one of the like pre-event meetups that they had last night in a Waymo, and it got a whole bunch of attention. This Waymo, which is going to be, kind of the question, right? Are we doing these robo taxis like Tesla using their cameras and their AI technology, or is it Waymo where it's their technology and it's all pre-mapped? And it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Tonight is a big day, lots of speculation. People have talked about, is there a, McDonald's did post a thing with a receipt that said 1010 on it, and it's unclear if that's related. Some people have speculated there might be a partnership there. I don't think so. I think that's people hope, but they've talked about, does Optimus also roll out tonight? I've heard rumors there's going to be a two-door version. Right. How cool would that be, right? Optimus robot gets out of a Robotaxi and delivers your McDonald's. I mean, how insane would that be? How many people would do that just to have a Robo Taxi and Optimus show up at your door with a quarter pounder or a Big Mac or nuggets or McRib?
one will stand and one will fall.
So we'll see, because they've talked, all these, this is the thing too, though, right, guys? This is what's tough about T3. This is what was tough about Cybertruck, is you imagine everything that you as a person would like it to be. Like, it's going to be a bus, it's going to be a two-door, it's going to be Optimus will be rolled out, and you'll be able to put a reservation down for that future of robotics. And you imagine all these things, and then the Cybertruck rolls out like a triangle from Minecraft, and a bunch of people are upset. And eventually people come around and they get normalized again. And whatever they roll out tonight, guys, they're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
If
thing is,
Optimus,
like, for me, I appreciate an announcement that's not too distant from the actual delivery. I was watching, and we all were watching the moment that they rolled the F-150 Lightning out on the stage. I
yeah,
was on the live feed, and it was such a cool moment watching it roll out. The grand reveal of the Lightning. I ordered it before it was over with, and that's why all three of us ended up being one of the first owners of that vehicle.
yep,
But they delivered from the moment that they did that announcement to what I actually received. I was
less than a year.
I was more, it was
Yeah.
1 year, but I was more
Yeah,
excited the day I got it than the day they announced it, just based on everything that had
And
taken.
I had been waiting for 3 years for my Cybertruck when they even made the announcement. So that gives you kind of a pause there. Had the Cybertruck came out before the Lightning, I would not have ever owned a Lightning because
The
I would
me
have
too.
Cybertruck
picked
was
up on the Cybertruck.
the difference is for me is the Lightning, had it basically was presented for what actually was delivered. I don't think there was very few changes. Now, when COVID hit and we had some supply chain issues, some people didn't get heated steering wheels and some features based on supply chain parts. But, the Cybertruck announced big and bad goals, and then they released something that actually wasn't that, that
Well,
actual vehicle.
but
And,
when you look at the base model, all-wheel drive base model in comparison to the F-150, they were comparable enough that I would have picked up on the Cybertruck base model instead of the F-150 then.
Yep.
but you
Now
can't
I
roll
look at
out
it
on
go,
your
I'm
announcement.
still in my Lightning, and I haven't even thought about trying to make a push to the other because I think that my truck does everything that the Cybertruck does. I still like the Cybertruck. I think it looks cool. I love the look of it, but I don't have a reason to change. And I think that's
Yeah.
it. Had the Cybertruck came out before my Lightning, I would have had the Cybertruck, and I'd have been fine, and I'd have been promoting it in the same way I have my Lightning. I've not had a problem. So
The
I
difference
think
there
that's
to
the
me
difference. How long
is
is it going to take this robot or this taxi or this truck or this whatever they're announcing today to go from this event to actually being in people's hands? What if they do come out with a sub $30,000 model? I don't know if they are or not. It's a rumor that they might have something like that that's part of the taxi system. If they offer that to the public, how many people would then leave their current vehicle to get into this because it's under 30,000 and you can charge it anywhere? What type of impact would that make in the community?
The big difference for me, though, and what Cybertruck had done, and I'm curious the actual delivery of the Robotaxi. Cybertruck came out in 19 and made the announcement that you were going to have a $40,000 model. You were going to have a $50,000 model that got 300-mile range, and then you were going to have the tri motor at 70,000, and it was going to have 500 plus miles of range, which is insane. That would be what everybody would want. And so everybody, the mixed reviews that came out of the actual Cybertruck launch event was, oh, like it was not what, the coolness of the truck is there. It's your own unique thing, but it is not what the original, promise was. And obviously there is to be expected some changes, but the tri-motor or the Cyber Beast is 120 grand and gets 315 miles.
They
It's
they
not a
did
$70,000 500-mile range vehicle. And that it's not even like it was close. It was way off on all those features, and it's half the range for twice the price, which is just crazy.
they did recently open up the order banks for delivery in 2025 of the non-foundation series. So I think they are starting to wrap up those final orders. They started delivering foundation series in Mexico for those drug cartel owners, I guess, that need that
Hey, it's a
pulling through.
bulletproof truck. I mean, that's what they need. So
Yeah, so I think they're kind of rounding out that foundation series, and then in the 2025 they're going to start delivering the non-foundation. It isn't yet, interestingly, on the government list of things that qualify for, and I'm sure they're submitting paperwork, and some people have speculated about something about the Chinese materials that are used in the battery for the cells. I guess the Cybertruck maybe has something slightly different than the Model Y and their 4680 cells. I don't know. It's part of this speculation for the event tonight is going to be they're going to be talking about battery technology. Again, speculation everywhere, but I've heard things about 2026 different battery packs for the Robotaxi. They're working on this new dry anode. I don't know which end is the which, but one of them is supposed to be a technology that they've long talked about is supposed to be helping those 4680 cells so that poor Brandon Flash maybe can see a charge rate that's better in the future on those. Who
One
knows? This is the
one
fun.
funny thing I want to mention just now. So I was trying to find the calculator of inflation for a $60,000 truck in 2019 to now. And I went to the website for the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And funny enough, they are down when I try to put in inflation numbers. They're not going to calculate it for me. So I had to go to another
Oh,
one.
dang it.
So if you bought it in early, if you had a $60,000 truck in early 2019, and then now you're looking about 75,000 for that $60,000 vehicle. So when
That's
they
about where it's
announced,
at.
there's a huge amount of interest or a huge amount of inflation that's happened since the time they announced too. So it's not far off from that if you take in considerations like inflation. Now, $130,000 for their premium is a far cry, but we all know there's $20,000 of technology they've added onto it for the foundation series. So that puts you around 110 for that three motor. I think that's high. But you also got to consider there's a lot of inflation that's happened since the time those were announced. So I just want to throw that out there as a
I mean,
contributing factor.
no,
they
I am personally angry with everything that's taken place around the pricing of the Cybertruck, and I will not be appeased.
well, it's crazy though because in fairness to the Cybertruck, it does a lot of cool things. It's
I
easily
like
got
it.
the best software. It's got the
Yep.
air suspension with it's got the better of the vehicle to home systems with exportable AC out, and interchangeability with Powerwall and in the existing gateways that so many people already have. And contrast that to where Ford's at. Cybertruck has taken over as the number one selling EV truck
Yep.
from Lightning, and I believe is doing more than Lightning, Silverado, and Rivian combined in the truck segment, and that is with the Foundation Series prices. So imagine when they do roll out, especially if it's available for incentive. I mean, they rolled out the 2025 pricing on the Lightning, guys, and there's no more 80 amp charging. There's no more keypad on the door. There's no more spare tire. There are lots of changes for 2025, most of them not in necessarily a better value direction. And the price is still right there where that dual motor Cybertruck's going to be. And so that's just where the space is. And I think that's why they've delayed T3 until 2027, because they just can't make money on it without battery technology being better,
And their
and
own
then and yeah, it's got to
batteries.
be their
Yeah.
own. It's got to be scaled. And so yeah, I mean, it's tough. Now look, they
Look at
didn't
Chevy.
deliver on.
You know, me and
Yes,
you, we talked about the other day.
just
Now, Chevy
stuffed it.
batteries are made in Tennessee, which is south of Nashville. Great big plant, that huge investment into our state.
That Ultium.
Yep. They're dropping the Ultium name, I believe, for their battery
Oh,
systems. I saw that the other day. But again, they came out with a Silverado. I can't remember the exact price. It was like what, 58 or
57.
60, 57.
Yeah,
And it has a
57.
400-mile range with 57.
Wow.
Now
Are you sure?
that's,
Wait, are you sure about that? Because everything I saw, it said
let's look
not
again.
disclosed. Yeah. I think somebody inserted a 400 because that's what the work truck can do, but that's the bigger. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that 57, the thing that the official stuff that I've seen says not disclosed yet. There's not an EPA rating on that. And I do think that's going to be much lower. I think it's going to be closer to the 300. I think it's going to be a single pack. I do think that's going to be
Now
and
we do know that the work truck makes that, so we'll quantify that. I do know the work truck because Josh and I have looked at them. We've talked to people that have them. So the work truck today can. The new ones that they've released that have an estimated 460 is for the upper range, and I do not see what the base model on this will
right.
be as of yet. But
Even that had controversy though, because those two extremes, the really high 460 and the lower spec, both of them I think are only available in the work truck trim, and they don't have a midgate available. I think it's this kind of so again, the devil's in
you
the
are
details with
correct. The
these.
standard range has not yet been
Yeah,
announced
yeah,
for 57. The 69, which is still cheaper than what our trucks were, is 422. The max range, listen to this, the max range, 77,492 EPA estimated mileage.
yeah.
That's nuts. That's
And
nuts.
I've seen them doing these range tests with, like, Tom Malogny did a range test, and I know Out of
Yeah,
Spec has done
they
them.
get it. They
Well,
get that range.
yeah, this isn't like our trucks where if you're driving 70 miles an hour down the freeway, you're getting 270, 280. Like, they're legitimately getting 400 plus mile at that speed. So even more so if you're driving around town doing work at lower speed, stop and go. I mean, but it's just you're shoving just big giant battery packs and low efficiency into there. And so yeah, everything's a trade-off, right? It's everything's expensive, or if it's not, it's a smaller battery with less range and less
I
features.
think I think though that there's a balance where a truck is going to have to be a large battery pack solution because somebody buying a truck that's going to tow, you have to have those large
You
solutions.
do.
It's less
You got to have
efficient,
it.
but so is a truck. If you look at a truck compared to an F-150 compared to a Honda Civic, the Civic's going to get tremendous more efficiency, but the F-150 can tow. And so
Yeah.
I think for all the truck models, we are going to be stuck in this range of these 200 kilowatt batteries, and that's the range that we're going to be in. But in the car space, Lucid is the shining example for what needs to take place in that space. Where hey, here is a 500-mile range on a not 200 kilowatt battery pack. It's all about the efficiency
Yep.
of the battery, and it's still a nice vehicle, comfortable. Now it's more expensive because it's more of a luxury vehicle as of now, but that model needs to be replicated across the board when it gets modeled into the regular smaller vehicle. Tesla is starting to get up in the 400 range with some of their extended, but the price is the
Model
concern.
3,
Sorry, yes, but if
Model
you
3,
look,
Model S. Yeah.
yeah, if you look into the conversation we had last week, it's reflective of the fact that you can't sell. He was having a hard time selling, the $80,000 truck when you discounted it with the dealer promos and stuff, and you got it down in the low 60s, upper 50s. That's when they started to move. And
Yep.
Kansas is Kansas, and yet that's kind of a trend that you're going to see across the board. Not many people can afford a $120,000 Cybertruck. We need this, with the sedans are going to need to be affordable, but a LT trim on a Silverado that's in the 400s, in the range category, and you can get a price of the mid 60s with incentives, maybe in the 50s. That's kind of the niche of where the trucks are going to have to be to thrive. And the dealerships have to find a way to make money. But in the car space, you can use the smaller batteries, but we need to work on the efficiency game. I think Lucid's done a tremendous job with that. And they're, I think, are a shining example. Now, the price needs to be adjusted for them, but you can see a vehicle with a smaller battery pack getting the extended range.
Well, even their new stuff, I have been toying with the idea of the Lucid Gravity. A lot of research looking into what it is. I've not seen one. Obviously, they're not on the road yet, but you get up to 440-mile range with a seven-seater, and it goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. I mean, when you have seven people you want to haul around, and you look at the competition in that field, none of them get 440-mile range. None of them. And that's
And
the kind of thing that I think is interesting is they have an SUV that can haul a family, the five, because I have five kids. This is a seven-seater. I would even like to have the bench seat if they even offered, or remove the bench seat and do the captain's chairs and do six. But how can you? There is nothing else in the market for that type of vehicle. So I've been looking at it, and then Josh sent me something yesterday of what was it, a Lucid Air, or a Lucid
Lucid Air Pure.
yeah, Lucid Air Pure here close that was on a used lot, and I was looking at it going, because I still think that is one of the best looking cars that
But
have been on the market right now.
But if you
So
look at the efficiency, the Tesla Model S long range has a roughly 100 kilowatt battery pack, and it's set to achieve a 400-mile range. So that's right at 4.0 miles per kilowatt to get to that level of efficiency. The Lucid Air has a roughly 88 kilowatt battery pack. And it gets 410. So I mean, it's even 15% more efficient than the Tesla. But in order to have affordable vehicles, battery size is going to matter. And the features and things in the vehicle, you can get it to that point. But to make competitive price vehicles, we need that 70 to 80 kilowatt battery pack, that 400-mile range targeted. The Lucid has that 800-volt architecture for rapid charging, and you mix that in with a lower price. Sedans need to be in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, brand new, and then you need to have the trucks in the 50 to 70 based on the trim models. That's where the EV space is, I think, going to really accelerate.
yeah, and
I
I
think
think yeah, go ahead,
I think
Chris.
what's complicated about this stuff is the buying market too drives so much of this. And so we talked to Tim last week about how the Maverick doesn't have a battery option because the form factor on the Maverick is so small. You
Yeah.
can't get that bigger battery in it. So you're not going to be able to offer something compelling when I can get 400 to 500 miles in the Maverick hybrid today. I'm not going to get a compelling offering at a compelling price where it needs to be with that small a form factor with today's battery chemistry. And then you can really see the result of that when you look at something that I was kind of excited about, which was the ID Buzz started rolling out the order banks for that. And you can go in, you can start to spec that. And I looked at it just for fun. And the ID Buzz, which is on a similar platform to the E-Transit, I believe, that's used in Europe, that kind of similar size. And so it's got like a, somewhere like ours, like my standard range battery, like a 90, 98, something in there. And it gets my kind of range. It's getting 230 rated EPA range out of a microbus. Man, that's a road tripping bus. It looks great, especially two-tone. I don't even know why they offer a one-tone. It looks horrible. Two-tone is the way to go, but it is a $64,000 to $67,000 offering with only 230 miles of range. And that's where our chemistry is, unless we either offer those little sedans like the S, the 3, the Pure, right, the Grand Touring, those kind of sedan kind of shapes is where the efficiency is. And if you get anything outside of that, you need a giant battery. And one day we got to get the chemistry to the point where it doesn't matter. There's some stuff coming up in 25 from like the Korean automakers where they're going to start bringing in some smaller ones. Rivian's talked about R2, R3, which is smaller. We'll see when these things start to drop. China, of course, has a bunch of smaller ones. There's a lot coming, but it always feels like something's coming. And I'm like, man, right now it still feels like we're stuck with these kind of aspirational ideas. And it's either really cool looking, but bad range and cost, or if it is affordable, it's kind of bland and basic. And Chevy, I mean, look, shout out to them, man. I kind of been talking recently about how it's like the tortoise and the hare, where Ford kind of seemed to have all this momentum, or conversations a while back where how we would be talking about T3 coming up now, and the 3-row Explorer, and none of these things happened. I mean, I've and then here comes looking around the corner. You got Chevy out there now with Silverado and GMC Sierra, and they've got Equinox, and they've got Lyric, and they've got Blazer, and they're going to relaunch the Bolt, and you're going to have a literal palette of offerings, everything from a 30,000, all the way up to 100 and something thousand. When you get to what was the one that you wanted, Josh? That's the 120 or whatever.
It's 100 for the
100.
GMC Sierra EV top trim model. But I mean, that's all the bells and whistles. And I mean, honestly, you could do less features. So I mean, that is, in my opinion, above the Platinum offering as far as the amount of features that's provided, as excluding battery size. So if you went and made lower trim models of the Sierra, the Denali of any trim in the GMC lineup is, if you look at their Denali SUVs, what's the brand? It's not Sierra, it's
Thought it was Sierra, but no.
the Sierra's the truck, the
Okay.
SUV is I don't know why it's escaping my brain. I know. Yeah.
Somebody drop it in the comments.
Somebody drop it in the comments. I know I looked at it once upon a time, but their SUV model, if you look at their Denali trim, it's over 100 grand for the gas powered 15 miles to the gallon.
It's just crazy.
SUV. And so that's where in the Chevy lineup, them having a truck that's 100K just kind of blends in if it's a Denali, because the SUVs, I'm pulling it up while we talk, because I need to know. The SUV side of things, that level of trim. The truck I think starts at like 80,000 for the Denali, but that SUV is about the same cost of like 100 grand for that similar type offering.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just really driven home that I still made the best value choice when it came to my Lightning, because it's got bigger back seat space, a great frunk. It's got the exportable power for my house. It's got a smooth as heck ride. And yeah, and
Have you got to drive the Buzz?
No, I haven't been able to drive the bus or the Gravity. I'd like to drive both of those. Both I'm really excited about. R2, I have not been even inside of an R2. I've only seen the outside. I have seen the Gravity. I'm right by Lucid, so I see them testing all the time. I saw my first one that was unwrapped, and got to check that out. I did a picture of it, but I didn't do any video. They asked me not to do video of it, but I got to check it out. I still have not driven it. But it was unwrapped and doing was it noise, harshness, vibration, whatever those are called. They were going up and down a street, and I got to kind of watch that and kind of ask them some questions, and it's close. It's this one was still one that was built here out of Newark in Northern California. It wasn't production, but I know they've done some meetings down in Arizona. I know they're getting close. But again, that's going to be an 80, not even 80. Like I've had these conversations online too. I think it needs to be 79.9 or whatever, so they can get that discount. But I don't think they're using battery technology that gets the full discount. I don't think the Pure gets the full discount. I'd have to look it up. So so that's just such a missed opportunity. And I think it's going to launch like everything else at 100 grand, because and it's going to be a great vehicle, but it's still, I'm waiting for that one to drop that's in the 40s. That's, of course the Model Y, that's why it's the juggernaut, but who is going to be, I'm hoping R2 is that. The Korean makers are starting to come out with some compelling things. We'll see, but
this is its own episode, but BYD shows up on the scene and gets into the United States with limited tariffs, and it's going to drive the entire EV market down.
Yeah.
Well, and going back to the
$4,000 model is going to revolutionize the outcome of how the U.S. EV market would be run. To go back to the point that I was making, that it's the Yukon. The Yukon, the brand new, costs 100,000.
Which is crazy. Come on,
$100,845. So
but you got to remember, these are all the first ones. The only thing I will say though is I was expecting the second one for Ford to be out by now, since they were kind of the first to come out with it. I thought they had everything ready to go. Now they're postponing, probably because of battery plants or whatever supply chains. If they come out, I would like to see them come out the same with the Cybertruck, where it has less traditional vehicle parts, so have an architecture of 36 volts throughout, to where your steering, everything is 36 volts, because that lightens the load, means more efficiency, just like the Cybertruck. I think that you're talking about the way the Lucid is, and I agree, but also it is expensive, but at the same time, it is also the only one that offers that type of range that we
That
know that
efficiency, yeah.
Lucid can do. So in my eyes, it is the first. It might not be the first to the market, when you look at Rivian and these others, but it's the first that you can get that 400 to 500 mile range, or at least 420 is what, or 440 is what they're saying.
It sets
And
the
that's
bar.
attractive. That's
Yeah.
very attractive that I can take my family in that vehicle and not have to stop twice or three times or four times if I take it to the beach, for example, 800 miles away or something like that. I can make a couple stops. Now I'm very excited to take it across country because I don't have to stop 15 times. It's only going to be five. And I think that Tesla has that because, going back to your point, Josh, when you start looking about and this is something important to me now that I'm paying attention to, is the kilowatt per mile. My truck gets maybe 1.9 kilowatts per mile or miles per kilowatt.
All
And
right.
when you start looking at the Model 3, it is King Kong. It's at 5.08 or at least 5 miles per kilowatt. You have the Renault, which is
Renault, yeah.
next, which is 4.8, and then you have the Hyundai, which is 4.8. So right now, you have all of these cars that's out there, you know, you might be able to point at Tesla and say, well, this does better or that does better. They're still the leader in a cheap vehicle that gets the most out of the batteries. And I think that's going to be the efficiency model. What happens if the Model 3 goes to a 36 volt architecture? Then what are you going to have? Now you have even a lighter weight vehicle that comes to market that's cheaper to make, that all the parts that he's built go into that. Is that where the $30,000 car comes into play? And I think it could. And also, don't forget, there's rumors going around that you might like that ID Buzz, but what happens if the cyber van is
Maybe
uncovered
tonight.
today?
Maybe
There's
tonight.
another one that you're like, well, I like
Yeah.
that ID Buzz
Maybe.
because I'm in California and I'm going to put a big flower on the side of my two-tone Volkswagen, but here
I think
comes a
Chris would.
van
I
that
think
looks like
Chris.
a apocalypse vehicle. I would rather have that, but.
I think Chris would like the flower on the side of his vehicle. So.
That would be great, man. I would,
I
I
would
would,
too, actually. If it was
I,
that van, I would do it because it looks great.
it does look great, man. And we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. If there's a van rolled out, we'll see, how the hype and excitement goes. GM put out a kind of shot at Ford. It says we don't need a skunks work team to learn how to build EVs. I mean, like,
Ooh.
oh, shots fired.
Ooh.
But it's look,
Oh,
all is forgiven once you release a product that's compelling. So look, if Ford rolls out this transformative thing, but that's the risk, right? Is that as a Ford fan, I'm imagining this skunk work team doing something really impressive. And if it comes out and it's just pedestrian, if it's just kind of what the market is, and it's not transformational, if it's not next level, all of this hype and all those delays are going to be really deflating, which is, I think, what happened to the Cybertruck people is the initial was deflating of what it really was. So I'm curious what tonight is. Is tonight deflating, or is it inspiring? Is it something that will actually happen? I think Jesse, it's not 36. I think it's 48 volts that they're using.
Oh,
So I
it's
think
a 48 volt.
it's a
For some
48
reason,
volt,
I
the
had 36
Cybertruck.
in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they would continue that, I think, along with Robotaxi or the cheap and affordable and all these different things, because you want to broaden that supply chain of vendors all using 48. But they just refreshed Model 3. I think the next one is going to be Juniper for Model Y sometime next year. There's been some releases out of China with that Model Y refresh. It doesn't look like those are going to be 48 volts. So that's still a number, I would say, probably 5 years away. We'll see if Robotaxi gets, I've heard rumors of 2026. Maybe it ends up being pushed to 27, which is where Ford seems to be. But all these aspirational dates, right? 2026, 2027, 2030, 2035. People love to talk about the future. And to your point earlier, Jesse, I like when you're like, here's an announcement. Next year it's happening. Here it is physically. You know, will it be a physical product tonight that's really a year from reveal? Or is this an aspirational thing, that doesn't live up to the hype? That's why it generates so much buzz. That's why we're talking about it. We'll know by this time tomorrow, and it will be fun no matter what it is. It'll
Yeah.
create a lot of debate.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. That's what makes it fun.
yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah, I mean,
Tesla has a high standard to live up to with what they're doing, but I think that, my best wish out of this announcement is that we will see a product that is ready to produce and not a future concept of, hey, in 2030 we intend to make this vehicle. I hope that within a year these things are rolling off the assembly line and ready to ready to revolutionize that space, because it's a very unique offering. Obviously, it generated a lot of interest, and what we saw was that they were it seemed like their focus as a company has been shifted towards the robotics and the AI side of things. And so I think that this is where this is the brainchild of, I think, all of that coming to a head. And so hopefully that's a product that's going to be a wow factor instead of just a status quo.
Lots of exciting conversations and podcasts still to come. Stay tuned, like and subscribe for more.
Look, but yeah, so we'll see. I mean, we might do a live feed later on tonight, or we might just do a recap episode tomorrow. We'll see. We'll come up with something. But we'll see what the announcement produces, and go 49ers, right?
Go 49ers. Go Big Brother. Happy birthday to my sister.
Happy birthday, sister. Yeah.
and then let's see what I'm gonna be challenged with. And so here's the thing, like I'm excited if they release this Optimus and they have a pre-order for it. I'm 100% putting down a deposit. It's happening. So I'm gonna have the 49ers on. The 49er game starts earlier, so that'll be on a screen, but then I'll be looking at that live Tesla announcement. And then
this is where you need 5 monitors to watch Big Brother, to watch the 49ers game, to watch the Tesla announcement. Yeah.
Big Brother will be later tonight. That'll be recorded, and then when the kids go to bed, we'll watch that. But yeah, it's gonna be up for an exciting night. I will leave work early. I will be ready for some fun adventures and X tweets and lots of criticism and haters, and then lots of people that are overblown, and the truth will be somewhere in the middle, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, TBD.
What time is that going to be tonight? Is it 10 tonight?
Yeah, it's really late your time, because I think it's 7 p.m. 7 p.m. I think doors open at like 5 Pacific, and then the event is 7. And in traditional Tesla form, like they had the last event, it'll be delayed by 30 minutes with a bunch of hype music and screen stuff. So
I don't know. If it's 10 o'clock Eastern, I could easily see it starting at 10:10. If
10,
it starts
would be
at
funny.
10, I mean,
it would be
just saying.
10 is 1 zeros. Those are binary. Again, read the tea leaves. Who knows what's going to happen here? But it's going to be fun no matter what it is.
Well, more to come. Stay tuned.
Yep.
Tune in tomorrow, next week, for our next episode. We'll let you know whenever we get one up. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe. You'll get notified whenever we post the next episode. So see you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Turn Down for What. Make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on to tune in to more EV news and updates. See you next time.